All right, welcome to Talking Investing. I am Tom, and as always, this is not financial advice. Today, I want to do a Bitcoin and Bitcoin miner update. This is a weekly edition. I want to go through what Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners did last week. There's something new happening, so we're going to talk about that. We're going to go through all our normal charts, and then we'll finish up with the Bitcoin chart itself. By the way, we're going for 400 likes on this video, so please do us a favor and smash the like button. If you enjoy this content, of course, you can subscribe to the channel. We recently reached 15,000 subscribers, so I want to thank everybody for helping us get to 15,000 subscribers. Thanks for joining us. Okay, now let's get to the first chart. You'll see, as always, Bitcoin is in gold. Bitcoin was up 14% this last week. That is a gigantic move. That's the best week it's had this year. On the other side, in purple, you're going to see the NASDAQ. That is down 3%. So Bitcoin and the NASDAQ have been going their own separate ways. We've been talking about this on the channel for the last month or more. This has been coming. The handwriting's been on the wall, and it's getting clearer and clearer. When we go to the year-to-date chart, you'll see it's even more obvious than this. But you can see the tides are starting to turn. This is the second week in a row where we have a very nice green chart as far as what the Bitcoin miners' performance was. For about a 3-month period, the Bitcoin miners were strictly moving as the market did, while Bitcoin went sideways and consolidated, and the Bitcoin miners had a big pullback. We will take a look at that next. But for starters, let's take a look at what happened this last week. So Cypher led the way up 28%. Cypher is the third largest Bitcoin miner by market cap, so that's actually a very strong move for Cypher. On the other end of the spectrum, Gree was up 23%. That is a very small nano cap stock. Remember, these should be leveraged plays. On a week where Bitcoin's up 14%, on a natural normal week, most of the Bitcoin miners would be above that. Some of them could be double or triple that, but that's not what's happening because, like we talked about, we've got this other drag. The market itself, the equities markets, are not doing well right now. There are some other variables that affect the Bitcoin miners. We're going to do a separate video and talk about those. Drop down in the comments other things that you think may be affecting the price of the Bitcoin miners and holding them back over the course of the last 3 or 4 months. Okay, so you got Bitcoin up 14%, and then you've got 3 others that were tied with that. Core Scientific, and remember, Core Scientific's in Chapter 11, so that's trading over the counter right now. And then you've got Marathon and Hut, which both were up 14%. And then there's a drop-off. You'll see most of these Bitcoin miners are still either performing the same or less than Bitcoin itself. So some of this has to do with the fact is the market is starting to decide which miners it likes. Some of this just has to do with the fact that I think certain miners are lagging and are due for a run. So not financial advice, that's just my opinion. I do continue to dollar cost average into a select few Bitcoin miners that I think are lagging behind and that will catch up at some point between now and the halving. Just take a look at a few other noteworthy ones. RIOT, which is the largest Bitcoin miner by market cap, was up 8%. So that significantly lagged Bitcoin. CleanSpark was up 6%. There were 3 Bitcoin miners that were in the red. BitDigital was down 1%. Hive was down 1%. So just barely in the red, but still to be negative on a week where Bitcoin absolutely took off does not bode well for those stocks in the short term. And then you've got Any, which is Sphere 3D. That was down 15%. So some of these stocks, when we take a look at the next chart, you're going to see are really starting to lag behind. And some of them, unfortunately, I think actually do deserve to lag behind. So as always, I talk about really our job is to take a look at these charts, take a look at all the information that we know, do your own due diligence, and try to find some opportunities inside of these numbers where you see companies where the stock is lagging, but their underlying performance is doing well. So that's what I always look for. Those are the stocks that I'm still dollar cost averaging into. The good news is Bitcoin over the last 2 weeks has had a gigantic breakout. So we're going to see where it goes from here, but we traded sideways for a full 3 months. We've broken out of that range to the upside, so we'll see what's ahead. Okay, here's a chart we've been looking at for almost 4 months now. So since Bitcoin hit its high in the middle of July, the Bitcoin miners since that point have been struggling in a big way, and this chart is going to show that. The top 2 numbers on this chart, number 1 in gold is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is now up 12% from its previous high of the year in 2023. So this is what I'm saying. Bitcoin has now had a solid breakout, up 12% from its previous high of the year, is officially a breakout. Bitcoin continues its bull run this year. While Bitcoin is up 12%, the NASDAQ is down 10%. So you can see these two have gone their separate ways over the last several months. It's really been the last 2 or 3 weeks that Bitcoin has broken out and broken away from this coupling it's had with the NASDAQ. I do believe this is the start of a longer trend. We'll see what happens. It's only been a few weeks, so we'll see if they converge back together or if they continue to move in different directions. In the meantime, you're going to see this still leaves every single Bitcoin miner in the red over the last 15 weeks. Most of the Bitcoin miners you'll see are between 40 and 50% down still just in this 15-week period. So that is drastically lagging the performance of Bitcoin itself. This has been a very difficult almost 4 months now for the Bitcoin miners. A lot of people are starting to ask, why not just invest directly in Bitcoin versus the Bitcoin miners? Obviously, that's a valid question. It's one you can only answer for yourself. Over the course of time, over the course of history, the Bitcoin miners have pretty much been a leveraged play on Bitcoin to the extent of 2 or 3x leverage, sometimes more. But just because that's always been true doesn't mean it's always going to be true. There are some other major variables. So these are things you need to decide for yourself. If we take a look at just this one window of time, it would appear that the Bitcoin miners are struggling in the short term. The question everybody needs to ask is this an opportunity? There are times that stocks lag. I did do a video on 5 other ways to invest in Bitcoin without actually buying Bitcoin. And then obviously you can just buy Bitcoin itself. So there's a lot of different ways to play this. I continue to dollar cost average into the miners, so that's not financial advice. I'm just letting you know what I'm doing. Okay, you can see there's even a few miners that are lagging even worse than this 40 to 50% range. You've got TeraWolf down 68% in this 15-week period of time. You've got Mawson down 71%, and then you've got BitDeer down 73%. And I will tell you with BitDeer, although this week was green, the last few weeks in a row prior to that, BitDeer got absolutely eviscerated. Most of this move down was in a very short window of time, very recently, but they are now in last place in the last 15 weeks out of all the Bitcoin miners. All right, to take one more step back, let's look at what's happening year to date. So this is from January 1st through October 27th. We're now almost 10 full months into this year. So you're going to see, unlike the last list, this list is very green. There are 3 Bitcoin miners that are in the red. There are several Bitcoin miners that are still lagging Bitcoin, but for the most part, the Bitcoin miners have had a green year. Most of the Bitcoin miners are up at least 100%. But that leads me to the fact that Bitcoin itself is now up over 100% year to date. If you see in the middle of this chart in gold, Bitcoin was up 103% as of Friday. In that same period of time, you're going to see the NASDAQ in purple, which was up 22%. So Bitcoin is actually doing about a 5x on what the NASDAQ is doing year to date. Now, obviously, Bitcoin had a brutal year last year. This still leaves Bitcoin down 50% from its 2021 highs in November of 2021. So there's a lot of room left to the upside potentially. In the meantime, you're going to see a grouping of Bitcoin miners up about 150%. Riot's actually up a little more than that. So Riot's the largest Bitcoin miner by market cap. It's up 181%. Marathon is the second largest by market cap. It's up 159%. Then you're going to see Iris Energy, Bitfarms, and HUT all up somewhere in the 150% range, while Bitcoin's up about 100%. So there's still a little bit of a leverage left to the upside for several of these stocks. And then you're going to see some that have even performed better than that. So Bit Digital is up 243%. That's more than a 2x leverage on Bitcoin. DigiHost is up 247% on the year. Cypher is up 493% on the year. Cypher had a spectacular week this week, and it's having a spectacular year. This has moved it into 3rd place overall in market cap of all the Bitcoin miners. And then if you really wanted to take a chance, Core Scientific's been in Chapter 11 all year long, and they continue to trade over the counter in Chapter 11, and they are up 805% year to date. We don't know what's going to happen. Core Scientific has said they're looking to get out of Chapter 11 by the end of the year this year, and whether it's by the end of the year or early in the first quarter of 2024, that looks like it's what's going to happen. So we'll have to wait and see. And we don't know what's going to happen to the stock and to the equity holders when that conversion occurs. But in the meantime, if you've taken this run up, congratulations. This has been over an 800% run to the upside. Okay, a few worth looking at on the other side. We've got 3 in the red year to date. While Bitcoin has doubled, Stronghold is down 13% in that period of time. Any, which is Sphere 3D, is down 47%, and Mawson is down 48%. There's one more I want to add to that list. Argo blockchain is now up 8%, so it's just barely in the green. This week week it moved from the red to the green. So those 4 stocks in particular have drastically lagged Bitcoin in the year 2023, and they've drastically lagged their direct competitors. You've got Hive at 104% and CleanSpark at 103%. Those are basically on par year to date with Bitcoin. So to me, those 2 stocks have underperformed from the leverage play that you would expect them to be. DMG Blockchain at 89% is underperformed, GREE at 69%, and TeraWolf at 68%. Those are nice moves to the upside, but GREE and TeraWolf, for me personally, those are stocks that I also think the market is concerned about. While they're not in the red year to date, they are significantly lagging Bitcoin. So please drop a comment below. These stocks we talked about, GREE, TeraWolf, Argo Blockchain, Stronghold, Any, and Mawson, those stocks that are lagging Bitcoin by quite a bit, drop in the comments if you think there's an opportunity in one of those stocks, or if you're investing in one of those stocks and you think maybe those could have a run and catch up or pass Bitcoin. Lastly, I'd like to take a quick look at what's going on with the market cap of the Bitcoin miners. So we list the top 12 here, and that's because there's really only 12 Bitcoin miners that have any real market cap at all outside of a micro cap or a nano cap market cap. On the bottom, I have here the ranking from 1 through 12. Underneath the ticker, you're going to see last week's ranking. So you're going to see this list did not change very much, virtually the same as last week. Riot and Marathon remain way out ahead in first and second place in overall market cap. And depending on what you look at, their market caps are virtually identical right now. Cypher's over $200 million ahead of CleanSpark, which is in 4th place. And then there's another $150 million drop down to HUT, which is in 5th place. So you can see things drop off very, very quickly here. You've got a grouping between about $200 and $300 million, Bitfarms, TeraWolf, Core Scientific, which is in Chapter 11, Hive, and Iris Energy. Is there an opportunity in here? Is one of these stocks going to take off? Because most of these stocks have had much larger market caps at times in the past. And you can see the Bitcoin miners do have the potential. Riot and Marathon, are nearly 10 times the market cap of some of these. So this is just one more way to look at this. And again, these market caps are not exact. Depending on where you go look, everybody has a little bit different number, so be careful. Before you invest in a stock, make sure you understand, make sure you've done your due diligence and you understand exactly what's going on with that stock. Lastly, I just want to take a look at the Bitcoin chart very quickly, and all I want to point out here is you can see we've got a gigantic breakout that's happened here. Since Sunday of 2 weeks ago, so this is Monday morning when I'm making this video, Bitcoin's up about 29%, so just under 30%. This is the breakout that I'm talking about in this 2-week window of time. We took out a few critical lines of resistance. We took out the previous high for the year 2023. We're now 12% above that. Saturday, we had a green candle. Sunday, we had a green candle. At this point, Monday morning, the candle is green. I don't know where it will finish, obviously, today, but we were up a couple of percent in Bitcoin over the weekend. We'll see how the Bitcoin miners do this week. That sums up all things Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners last week. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, please remember to subscribe, smash the like button, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. Thanks again for watching, and we will see you in the next video.